Alrighty, here we go. So you've done now your full year budget and you've got really good estimates in there that are as close as possible to what you think you might get in this next 12 months. And then you fast forward to the end of the month. And so normally I do this process at the beginning of the next month. And when you're just learning and building it up, you might want to do it weekly and check in with these numbers weekly so that you can make sure that you know how you're tracking for the month. I now just do them at the first, as soon as I can in the first week of the following month. So let's say, imagine it's the first week of February 2026. I'll open up my bank statements and I'll enter in all the data into here as income and as investments. And then I'll compare my actuals to my forecast. And so this is such a powerful process to go through because you're actually keeping on top of how you're going in real time. And just like any business working with actuals to budget, you'll be able to then be more strategic and make sure that you're able to make sure the month is as profitable. So there's as much savings as possible each month so that you're not going into losses, and being mindful that once you've allocated yourself money for discretionary spend like travel and that sort of thing, that you don't hammer yourself for spending it. So you know that you've allocated money towards those things. So then you can be comfortable and enjoy your trips and enjoy your travel. But the purpose of this is just to make sure that you are working to a budget, and where you're able to go better than your budget, more income, less expenses, that means that you're building your wealth. So it's really positive. And also, if you use your bank account splits, you can actually be allocating as per percentage of living expense to one account, splurge or travel to another account, and use the percentages. And so you've got guilt-free spending because you know that you're going to have a certain amount of savings at the end of the year, and that's your goal so that you can build your wealth. In here, let's say I did 26,000 in income for the month, and so 2,000 slightly under there because I was weekly estimating $1,000 a week, but I actually did 2,000 for the month. But I put in 26,000 for the month in take-home pay, and then I made for the month in interest 1,500, so I was slightly ahead, and I did rental income was 4.5. Okay, so here we've got the tax calculation. So you just want to make sure your calculation's correct and your percentage of tax that you're putting aside is accurate based on your personal situation. But then I will normally transfer that money into a tax hold account, so have a separate bank account and put that money into it, just so that it's split and I don't spend it. Normally it's a high interest, or if you're just tracking it and you know what it is, you can have it in an offset account or something that's generating you the most possible on that income. But yeah, just knowing that needs to be put aside for tax. And then going through, I had my 3,000 for mortgage, I had 4,000 for rent, council, didn't pay one this month, pool I had in there, and these we need to put as negatives. So I'm just scrolling, when I'm doing this process, I'm looking for my bank account and I'm just scrolling through the bank accounts that I've got and just allocating them straight in and making sure that it's accurate. So it's my actual figures. Supermarket, I was a bit over, 2.1. Butcher was a bit under, 340. Fruit and veg, I was over, I spent 500. Seafood, 400, and you get the drift. So you go through everything, enter it all in, and that'll give you the total expenses. And in here, I didn't go on a holiday that month, so I got 0. I didn't do a retreat. I went out for a lot more lunches than I thought I would, and I also spent shitloads on coffee. And donations was just consistent. And hobby, I ended up doing a lot more than I thought I would, so I was at 500. So here I can see that I put zeros in. You can just tidy it up. I like to just make it neat. Just put zeros in everywhere else. And then, so I was under on my living expense percentage, which I thought was going to be 42% of cash flow. It was actually 36, so I beat it there. And I was slightly under on my discretionary spend, but I was actually up on these. And so being mindful that in the next month, that if I kept going in that way, I'd be over. So this is how you can just keep track and monitor how you're going to your budget. And I was able to save 16,000 my total outgoings were 13,803. And so I saved 55% of my monthly income. So this is how I track it throughout the year, and I just go through every month all the way till the end of the year. And then at the end of the year, at the first week of January in the new year, I will review my total. How did I go total to planned year to actual total year to date? And then I'll also look at total expenses. How did I go there? And what was my total saved? Did I actually save my 183,000 that's here? And as I go through the year, I can see and track how I'm going to my original budget. And that way, yeah, we've got full clarity of our numbers fully. By doing it from the bank account and entering it into the spreadsheet, it means that I've got full awareness of what I'm spending. Nothing can really slip through the cracks. It also many times has given me an opportunity to pick up on where there might have been fraud on my card or something's happened where I've been double charged for something. But by going through it and having that catch up each month on the numbers, I'm totally confident with money flow and ins and outs. So at the end of the year, once you do your review, then like I said in that last one when I'm preparing the budget, I'll take a copy of this, create a copy, and make a new one, and I'll call it 2027, like I've done here. And so what that does is it allows me to then bring forward the data for the next for the next calendar year, and then check how I went with the totals to what I'm budgeting. And then it allows me to then just hone my strategy and refine every year. So as I get clearer, what else it does, which is pretty amazing, is it shows me how I've grown or changed over years. So over the years as I've gone. So having all that data is just priceless. And yeah, that's the process. And if you have any questions, if you're watching on YouTube, post a question into the comments. If you are on school and you got a question, come to the weekly catch up meeting and yeah, ask your question there. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.